Chosen one. Listen. Heaven has paused everything around you for this exact moment. You did not stumble here by coincidence. This is not an algorithmic accident. This is divine orchestration. You have been asking, Lord, who is meant for me? Who carries the key to my heart, to my destiny? And heaven replies tonight, God has already chosen your future spouse. Your spirit has felt the whisper, that gentle pull that says, someone is being prepared for you. It was not imagination, it was revelation. Every sleepless night, every tear shed, wondering why love seems delayed, every moment you felt overlooked, was part of the divine setup. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. The delay is not denial, it is divine design. Chosen one. You are not meant to blend in. You are a vessel of destiny, and because of that, your love story cannot look like the world's. It is sacred, strategic, heaven-crafted. The one who is coming into your life will not only love you, they will understand your assignment. Their soul will recognize yours, not by sight, but by spirit. You won't need to chase, manipulate, or force. When heaven aligns hearts, peace will replace anxiety. Heaven whispers even now, prepare your heart, purify your expectations. The person God has revealed is not just someone who fits your preference, they are the one who fits your purpose. You will know them not by the butterflies, but by the stillness that surrounds your spirit when they speak your name. The peace of God will mark them. Listen closely. This message finds you because heaven is confirming what you already sensed. Maybe you've seen glimpses in dreams. Maybe a name keeps surfacing. Maybe your spirit trembles when you pray about them. These are not coincidences. They are divine breadcrumbs leading you toward your appointed covenant. There are many voices around you, friends. Fears, even past heartbreaks. But tonight, God silences them all to remind you. He has already chosen. The question now is, are you ready? Because when heaven reveals, readiness determines reception. Some people pray for a spouse, but their hearts are still bound by past wounds. You cannot step into a divine union carrying the residue of an old season. The person God has chosen will not compete with your trauma. They will call forth your healing. Feel this truth settle deep. Love is not found, it is revealed. And revelation comes only to those whose hearts are ready to perceive. So instead of asking, "Where is my spouse?" begin to ask, "Lord, make me ready." Because heaven only delivers to hearts that have space. And maybe right now, your spirit feels weary of waiting. Maybe you're tempted to settle for someone who only half fits your calling. Don't do it, no matter the price. Don't settle for what looks good but lacks divine breath. You've come too far, survived too much, endured too long to miss the one heaven handcrafted for you. Lift your head. Chosen one. Your story isn't delayed, it's being perfected. The winds are shifting in your favor. The same God who revealed to Abraham the stars in the sky and promised a lineage through faith is still revealing promises today. And tonight, you are part of that divine unveiling. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are hidden until the appointed time. Just like a diamond must remain in pressure before it shines. You too have been in pressure for purpose. Every heartbreak was pruning. Every rejection was redirection. Every delay was destiny saying, "Wait, I'm not done writing yet." No, heaven is saying tonight, don't give up now. Don't lose faith because of time. Every promise that came from God carries its own fulfillment date. When it happens, it will happen suddenly. The same God who formed Eve from Adam's rib while he rested is forming your covenant even while you wait. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 7, "Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you." Chosen one. Tonight is not about wishing, it's about alignment. Heaven has already revealed what your spirit must now prepare to receive. Don't doubt the signs. Don't silence your intuition. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead is guiding your steps even in love. Before you scroll away, pause. This is a sacred moment. If your spirit recognizes this word, if something deep inside you says, "This is for me," then comment 770, 7 below as a prophetic act, declaring that you are ready for divine revelation, divine timing, and divine union. Let heaven see your obedience through action. Like, share, and subscribe, so this word continues to reach other chosen ones walking the same path. Chosen one. You have carried the weight of waiting longer than most can imagine. The nights when you whispered, "God, when will it be my turn?" were not ignored. Heaven heard every sigh, every prayer uttered in quiet surrender. What felt like delay was never neglect, it was divine protection. The waiting has not been empty, it has been fertile. There are seasons when God hides his greatest treasures in plain sight. And you, beloved, are one of them. You have not been overlooked. You have been safeguarded. The loneliness that has shadowed your path was not meant to break you, it was meant to build you. For how can one carry the weight of a divine partnership if they have never learned to stand alone with God first? You see, many rush to find love before they learn to rest in divine companionship. Yet your Father knows, a soul that cannot find peace in his presence will never find peace in another person. This is why the weight has stretched. He was teaching you to breathe in his stillness, to stop trying to fill the ache with noise, distraction, or comparison. There were moments when you questioned if you were somehow unworthy of love, but that lie was forged in the pit of fear, not in the heart of God. You were never being punished for wanting connection. You were being trained to recognize covenant. The delay was heaven's way of purifying your discernment, so you would no longer mistake chemistry for calling, or attention for affection. Chosen one. This is why your heart has been through fire. Every disappointment burned away another layer of dependency. Every ending you thought would destroy you only revealed how unshakable you are. God was not withholding love from you. He was building capacity within you. The love that's coming isn't fragile, it's fierce. It will not break under pressure, because you have been forged under it. And in this waiting, something sacred has been happening. God has been shaping your character, refining your vision, anchoring your emotions. He's been removing the need to prove yourself worthy and teaching you to rest in the truth that you already are. The wait is the womb of transformation. You are not the same person you were when you first asked God for a partner, and that is the point. There is a reason your story could not unfold quickly. The love you are being prepared for requires maturity, not haste. You are learning the rhythm of divine timing, slow, deliberate, perfect. The world teaches instant gratification, but the kingdom teaches holy patience. The kind of love God is writing for you is not a spark that fades, it's a flame that endures. When you felt forgotten, heaven was working behind the curtain. When you cried out, "Why them and not me?" God whispered, "Because I'm building something different with you. You are not in competition with anyone else's timeline. Your path is divine, your process intentional, and your promise inevitable. Even your silence was a classroom. God used the quiet to show you how to hear His voice clearly. So when the right person speaks, you'll recognize the same Spirit that comforted you in your solitude. That recognition will be your confirmation. The prophet Isaiah once wrote, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not faint." Chosen one. This waiting has not been a punishment. It has been preparation. Every delay has strengthened your wings. You have been learning how to fly above discouragement, how to rest in midair when storms rise. And soon, when the revelation of your future spouse appears, you'll realize why it had to take this long. For now, breathe, rest, stop seeing waiting as wasted time. God's silence is not absence, it's strategy. The one who is meant for you is also learning to wait well, to pray deeply, to surrender completely. Heaven is synchronizing your hearts in the unseen. One day soon, you'll look back and thank God for every unanswered prayer, every door that never opened, every delay that led you into alignment, because the waiting did not break you, it birthed you. Chosen one. Sometimes what you're searching for is standing right in front of you, hidden in plain sight. The one God has appointed for your heart may have already crossed your path, perhaps in a conversation you dismissed, a meeting that felt ordinary, or a moment you didn't recognize as divine. Heaven often hides miracles in the mundane, and love is no exception. You have been praying for a sign. But what if the sign is already here? What if the answer doesn't come as thunder from the clouds, but as a quiet peace in your spirit when you think of someone specific? God's ways are subtle, yet unmistakable. He doesn't reveal everything at once. He teaches discernment through small, divine hints that only the spiritually awake can perceive. Beloved, you've encountered people who appeared perfect, but left your spirit uneasy. That unease was heaven's red light. And you've also met those whose presence felt strangely familiar, as if your souls had known each other long before words were exchanged. That familiarity is not coincidence, it's the echo of destiny. When God connects hearts, recognition comes before realization. Do you remember that time you met someone and your heart felt calm instead of chaotic? Peace, genuine peace, is heaven's language. It's how God confirms what your mind cannot yet understand. When the right person is near, anxiety fades. The noise of overthinking quiets. Your spirit feels seen. Not because of flattery, but because something deep within you feels understood. This is why it's vital to stay spiritually alert. The enemy loves to blur divine timing by distracting you with counterfeits. Not everyone who notices your light was sent to nurture it. Some come only to drain it. But the one God has chosen will not compete with your calling, they will complement it. You will sense unity, not confusion. Heaven hides revelation in ordinary interactions, the conversation that lingers in your mind, the prayer request that brings someone's name to your lips, the dream that repeats. It's all part of divine patterning. God allows hints, not full disclosure. because he wants you to walk by faith, not by formula. Chosen one, your spirit already knows what your eyes cannot yet see. Sometimes, you're not waiting for a sign from God, you're waiting for permission to believe what he already showed you. Stop doubting your spiritual sensitivity. You've heard his whisper before. You recognized the prompting, but fear made you question it. It's time to trust that still, small voice again. And remember this, the person God has chosen for you might not look like what you expected. Divine matches rarely fit earthly molds. They might come wrapped in humility instead of glamour, in faithfulness instead of flash. But when you see them through spiritual eyes, beauty takes on new meaning. You'll recognize their soul before their face becomes familiar. Heaven often disguises destiny to protect it. If the wrong people could see what's being written for you, they would try to interrupt it. That's why some connections fade without explanation. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You weren't being punished, you were being preserved for what's holy. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 9, what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love him. Chosen one. What God is preparing for you goes beyond imagination. You will not have to chase it, prove yourself worthy of it, or manipulate circumstances to make it happen. When it's time, heaven will align your steps so seamlessly that you'll look back in awe. But for now, stay faithful in the unseen. Keep your heart open, but guarded. Hopeful, but discerning. Love is not hiding from you, it's being hidden for you. And when revelation meets readiness, the unveiling will happen suddenly, beautifully, undeniably. Pause for a moment and let your spirit breathe. If these words resonate deep within, if something in you stirs with quiet recognition, then speak it out as a prophetic affirmation. Type below, I see clearly. Write it not as a wish, but as a declaration that your spiritual eyes are open, that you will no longer miss what heaven is showing you in plain sight. By typing those words, you are aligning with divine clarity. You are saying, Lord, let me recognize what is already before me. Oh, remember, chosen one. Revelation doesn't come to the distracted, it comes to the devoted. Stay close to the whisper, and you'll see that the miracle you've been waiting for was never far away. It was simply hidden until your heart was ready to see it. Chosen one. Heaven does not choose by appearance, popularity, or convenience. It chooses by purpose. Your future spouse is not simply someone you will love. They are someone with whom your divine calling will unfold. Before time began, God wrote two paths meant to intersect, not because of emotion alone, but because of assignment. This is the mystery of divine matchmaking. It is never just about companionship, it is about completion. When God brings two chosen souls together, he merges missions. The union becomes a living testimony that love and purpose were never meant to be separate. This is why your relationship will be different. It won't make sense to everyone else, because it's not just built on compatibility, it's built on calling. You see, heaven orchestrates connections through alignment, not attraction. The world tells you to look for chemistry, but God says, look for covenant. Chemistry can fade, but covenant endures through every storm. Your person will not only stand beside you when things are easy, they will intercede for you when things get hard. They will not run from your wounds. They will help you heal them. Chosen one. God has been teaching you to recognize love through the lens of purpose. Every lesson, every heartbreak, every closed door was shaping your understanding. You learned that not everyone who says, "I love you," is assigned to you. You learned that some connections come to awaken desire, while others come to fulfill destiny. Only the latter can stand the test of time. Heaven's matchmaking is never random. God looks at what He has placed within you, your gifts, your faith, your flaws, your fire, and then chooses a counterpart whose life will not compete with yours, but will complete it. Their prayers will unlock your purpose, and your obedience will unlock theirs. When you walk together, you will create ripples that reach generations. You may not yet see how the pieces fit, but God has been working in secret, weaving threads of destiny long before you were aware. Every person you met was part of that tapestry, some to teach you patience, some to test your heart, some to show you what love is not until your soul could finally discern what love truly is. Chosen one. When God chooses your partner, He does not choose someone to entertain your loneliness. He chooses someone to expand your legacy. The divine blueprint of your life requires someone whose spirit can carry weight, who can stand firm when spiritual storms arise. This is why God sometimes says no to what you think you want, because what you want may soothe you for a season, but what He sends will strengthen you for eternity. There will come a moment when you will recognize that this was never about finding someone who makes you feel complete, but about finding the one who helps you serve the kingdom more completely. That realization will shift everything. You'll stop asking, "Who do I want?" and start asking, "Who has God chosen?" Chosen one. Your heart has been prepared for covenant. You have learned endurance, forgiveness, and discernment, 3 pillars of divine partnership. And so has your future spouse. Though you may not know their name yet, their prayers have touched heaven, just like yours have. Heaven is aligning 2 heartbeats that have been trained in faith. When you finally meet, it won't just feel right, it will be right. Your connection will carry a sacred stillness, an undeniable knowing that this is more than emotion, it's purpose wrapped in love. The same spirit that whispered to your soul during the long nights of waiting will bear witness that this is what He promised all along. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 21, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Chosen one. This truth anchors your story. You may plan, hope, and imagine, but it is God's purpose that directs your steps. The path may twist and turn, but every detour is part of His design. Trust that even the delays and disappointments are refining you for divine alignment. You are being fitted for your future, just as your future is being fitted for you. Every act of obedience draws you closer to the one ordained for your life. The connection won't require striving or convincing. It will be marked by mutual surrender to God's will. When 2 purposes collide under heaven's timing, there is no confusion, only clarity. Rest in this assurance. Heaven is not improvising your love story, it's fulfilling it. You don't need to chase what's already chosen. The same God who revealed Eve to Adam at the appointed moment will reveal your person to you. Until then, keep walking faithfully. Keep growing quietly. Because when divine timing meets divine design, the revelation will be undeniable. Chosen one. Every time God writes a story, The enemy tries to release a counterfeit first. It is his oldest trick to send distraction before destiny, before your eyes open to the one heaven prepared. The world will present imitations that shine like gold but rust like iron. They will speak your language but not carry your light. You see, the enemy doesn't tempt you with what looks evil. He tempts you with what looks almost right. The counterfeit feels good at first, intense, magnetic, convincing. They say all the right things, mirror your prayers, and speak about God with ease. But if you listen closely, their words echo but do not resonate. There's passion, but no peace. There's chemistry, but no covenant. Chosen one, you must understand, the closer you are to the real thing, the louder the imitation becomes. That's why, just before the divine connection, confusion often rises. People from your past reappear. Unfinished stories try to reopen. Loneliness whispers that maybe you asked for too much. But don't you see, that pressure is proof that heaven is near. Imagine a goldsmith at work. When gold is about to be purified, the fire grows hotter, not to destroy, but to separate what's pure from what pretends. You are that gold. God's refining fire burns away illusions, so that when the real one stands before you, you will know. The counterfeit will rush you, but the real will respect your pace. The counterfeit flatters your ego, but the real honors your soul. The counterfeit pulls you from purpose, but the real pushes you closer to it. Learn to recognize which voice is speaking. One will drain you, the other will deepen you. Heaven never hides truth in chaos. If someone constantly makes you question your worth, their connection is not divine, it's distraction disguised as desire. The one God sends will bring peace that doesn't need to be proven. You won't need to shrink to be loved. You'll expand in their presence. You might wonder, why does God even allow counterfeits? Because discernment must be developed before destiny can be trusted. If He gave you the promise before you learned to identify imitation, you might call something divine that was only designed to delay you. Every false start has taught you something sacred. Chosen one, remember this: rejection was not God's cruelty, it was His kindness. He saved you from connections that would have crushed your calling. You are being refined to carry love that will last, not love that fades. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 30. Verse 19, I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. Your choices matter. Beloved, love is not just emotion, it's obedience. Every no you say to distraction becomes a yes to destiny. Every time you walk away from something that doesn't carry peace, you make space for what was promised. And when it finally arrives, you will see why the waiting was worth it. The one God has prepared will fit not just your heart, but your calling. Their love will not distract you from God. It will draw you deeper into Him. Together, you will become a lighthouse, guiding others through storms by the glow of your faith. Think of it this way: a lighthouse doesn't chase ships. It stands, rooted and radiant, shining steadily until the right vessel recognizes its signal. You, chosen one, are that light, and your future spouse is the vessel guided home by the glow of your obedience. So, as you listen to these words, let them settle in your spirit. You don't need to rush the process, you need to trust it. Every almost has been part of your preparation. Every heartbreak was heaven polishing your discernment until it could see truth without distortion. If this message feels like a mirror, if you see your own story reflected here, then let's spread that light together. Like this message, so it can find another heart who's struggling to tell real from false. Share it as a quiet act of compassion, not promotion. You never know who might be one counterfeit away from giving up. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. Stay connected to these moments of divine reflection. Sometimes, one word at the right time is all a soul needs to keep believing. Chosen one. Your discernment is awakening. You are learning to see beyond appearances, to feel truth beneath words, to sense heaven's peace, even when your eyes don't yet see evidence. Keep your spirit tuned to that still frequency of divine direction. For soon, when the counterfeit fades, the real will be revealed, and you will know, without doubt, that this was what heaven was preparing you for all along. Chosen one. There is a reason heaven kept you hidden for so long. You were not being delayed, you were being refined. The season you are in is not punishment, it is purification. God has been shaping you quietly, preparing your spirit for something holy. Just as gold must be refined by fire, your heart must be purified by process. The person God has chosen for you is being refined too. You are not the only one walking through the furnace of transformation. The one who will stand beside you is learning the same lessons, shedding pride, surrendering fear, and drawing closer to God in the hidden place. When the time comes, you will not meet through fleshly timing, you will collide through divine readiness. Chosen one. Many people want the promise, but few are willing to endure the preparation. Yet heaven cannot give you what you are not ready to carry. The love you are being prepared for is not fragile, it is fortified. And so, your soul has had to be strengthened first. You had to learn to find peace in solitude, to build faith in silence, to keep walking when no one was cheering. Do you remember the seasons when everything seemed to fall apart? Those were not endings, they were refinements. The shaking was necessary to separate what could not stay from what must remain. The habits that once comforted you could no longer contain you. The people who walked away made space for what heaven was sending. Every loss was a lesson wrapped in mercy. Chosen one. God is not just preparing you for love, He is preparing you for partnership. He is shaping you into a vessel that can carry not only affection but also assignment. Kingdom unions require maturity. They demand purity, humility, and unwavering faith. That is why the refining process feels heavy. It is shaping you into someone who can handle holy weight. You see, there is a difference between attraction and anointing. Attraction draws the eye, but anointing draws destiny. The person you are waiting for will not simply appeal to your senses, they will awaken your purpose. You will not have to chase them, because destiny will draw you together at the appointed time. But first, both of you must be shaped by the same refining fire. The prophet Zechariah wrote about this process, describing the fire that purifies the chosen, in the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 9. This third I will put into the fire. I will refine them like silver and test them like gold. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, they are my people. And they will say, the Lord is our God. Unzip, beloved. That is, you. You are being refined, not rejected. God is answering your prayers through process, He is not ignoring your tears. He is using them to water your growth. You are being set apart because what He is about to give you cannot be shared with just anyone. Think of the potter's wheel. Before the vessel can hold oil, it must endure pressure and shaping. The potter presses, stretches, and spins the clay until it becomes strong enough to serve its purpose. You, chosen one, are on that wheel right now. It may feel uncomfortable, but you are in the potter's hands, and the potter never wastes his touch. The person you will meet will be equally refined. They, too, will have endured loss, learned obedience, and surrendered pride. When you come together, your scars will not repel. You will recognize them as proof of survival. You will see in each other the reflection of God's mercy. That is why you must not compare your timeline to others. You are not behind. You are being perfected. The world rushes to meet deadlines, but heaven prepares you for lifetimes. The love you're waiting for is not coming late. It's arriving ready. And so, chosen one, tonight, heaven invites you to respond with faith. If this word burns within your spirit, if you feel the fire of refinement shaping you, even now declare it boldly. Comment below 888 as a prophetic act. Let it symbolize the infinite cycle of renewal, new beginnings, eternal grace, and the refining fire that transforms pain into power. When you type those numbers, you're not just engaging, you're agreeing. You're saying, Lord, I trust the fire. I trust the timing. I trust you. And you are not forgotten in this season. You are being prepared for glory. You are being molded to hold love that will not shatter under pressure. The refining is not breaking you, it's building you. And when the time comes, when the fire has done its holy work, the one who has been refined beside you will appear, shining with the same divine light. You'll look into their eyes and know, this is what the fire was for. Hold steady, chosen one. The furnace will not last forever. Soon, the potter will lift his hands, and the masterpiece will stand complete. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every divine story when heaven confirms what the heart has already begun to suspect. This is the season of spiritual confirmation where signs, whispers, and divine impressions begin to align so clearly that even your doubts must bow to faith. God never leaves His chosen ones in confusion for long. When it is truly from Him, peace will speak louder than uncertainty. You may have already begun to sense it, a recurring name, a sudden awareness, a gentle nudge during prayer that points you towards someone. Do not dismiss it. Heaven often communicates not through thunder, but through patterns, subtle repetitions that stir your spirit. God confirms in layers, revealing pieces until your heart can handle the full picture. Chosen one. You have prayed for a sign, but sometimes the sign is not external, it's internal. The quickening in your spirit, that quiet knowing that says, this is different, is often the voice of God whispering affirmation. The one who is meant for you will not just touch your emotions, they will resonate with your spirit. Your connection will not feel like chaos, it will feel like clarity. The challenge is to discern between confirmation and coincidence. Coincidence fades with time, confirmation grows stronger. Coincidence creates curiosity, confirmation creates conviction. When heaven confirms, the signal doesn't weaken with distance, it deepens with prayer. Every time you bring it before God, peace increases, Every time you try to ignore it, peace withdraws. But take heed. Beloved, the human heart is easily swayed by desire, and the enemy loves to mimic divine patterns. This is why spiritual maturity is vital. God's voice will never contradict His word. The Spirit's confirmations are never manipulative or rushed. They carry gentleness, not pressure. If someone urges you to act hastily or to step outside the boundaries of peace, they are not heaven sent. Divine timing does not demand panic. It invites patience. Chosen one. Confirmation is rarely about lightning bolts or audible voices. It often arrives through divine symmetry. Perhaps you both share the same vision for service, or your prayers begin to echo each other's without coordination. Maybe your journeys mirror one another's in ways too precise to be random. These alignments are not coincidences, they are coordinates. Heaven is aligning destinies across distance, drawing hearts into parallel paths that will one day converge. You have likely noticed how God sends reassurance through others too. A sermon you didn't plan to hear suddenly speaks your exact thoughts. A friend mentions a phrase that mirrors your private prayer. Even natura responds certain songs. Times or symbols appear repeatedly. Do not be quick to label these moments as mere chance. God is fluent in subtlety, and sometimes the clearest confirmation comes through stillness. When you quiet every voice except His, the truth rises. In silence, heaven speaks. That's why distraction is one of the enemy's favorite tools. He wants to fill your mind so you can't feel the peace that confirms God's will. But when you step into solitude, what remains in your spirit after the noise settles, that is your answer. Chosen one. God wants you to be confident, not confused. He is not playing hide and seek with your destiny. The same Spirit that brought Mary assurance when she asked, "How can this be?" is the same Spirit that whispers to you now, "It will be according to my word." Heaven's confirmation always carry peace, alignment, and timing. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 33, verse 3. Call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. This is the invitation of heaven, to call, to listen, and to trust that God still answers. You are not imagining the alignment. You are being invited to perceive it. You are not waiting for proof. You are learning to interpret signs. Chosen one. The confirmation will not come to validate your impatience. It will come to strengthen your faith. It will not flatter your ego. It will fulfill your peace. And when the moment of truth arrives, there will be no struggle between your spirit and your logic. They will agree. Until then, remain open, yet anchored. Test every sign. But do not dismiss the supernatural simply because it defies reason. God delights in revealing Himself through mystery, but He never leaves His children in deception. If it is truly His will, the confirmation will come again and again, consistent and clear. Let peace be your compass. When confusion knocks, wait. When doubt whispers, pray. And when stillness comes, listen. Heaven is speaking, and soon you will see that every whisper, every sign, every divine hint was guiding you closer to the one God has chosen for your heart. Chosen one. Before revelation comes, separation must happen. You may not have realized it, but some of the people who left your life did not walk away by accident. They were removed by divine design. Heaven had to clear your atmosphere before your next season could unfold. You prayed for clarity. And sometimes clarity comes as distance. God saw what you couldn't. He saw how certain relationships were dulling your discernment, how certain voices were drowning out His own. So, in His mercy, He began to disconnect you, not to isolate you, but to insulate you. What felt like abandonment was actually protection. You thought you were being pushed out, but heaven was pulling you higher. Chosen one. Separation is one of the hardest stages in divine preparation because it feels unfair. You loved deeply. You gave sincerely. And still, some people could not go where God is taking you, not because they were evil, but because their season in your story had expired. The divine script you are walking through has specific roles, and some characters are not written into the next chapter. Understand this. Divine separation does not mean disconnection from love. It means connection to purpose. When God calls you into a new dimension, He prunes away what cannot survive the altitude. You cannot soar with eagles while clinging to cages. Every time God elevates, eliminatis, it is not cruelty, it is calibration. You have been asking, why did they leave? Why did this friendship end? Why did that door close? And heaven answers softly, because the promise you carry requires silence to grow. Some revelations cannot be cultivated in crowded rooms. God heeds you, not because you are forgotten, but because He is protecting what He's forming. Chosen one. Even Jesus experienced this divine pattern before His greatest miracles. He withdrew to solitary places. Before His resurrection, there was separation even from those He loved most. The garden always comes before the glory. Loneliness is not the absence of God's presence. It is often the space where His voice grows loudest. It hurts. Yes, you miss the comfort of familiar voices. You miss the warmth of those who once understood you. But God is building a foundation that cannot be shaken by emotional tides. He is teaching you to stand in divine solitude so that when the right person comes, you're true. God-sent partner. You will not depend on them for identity. You will meet them from wholeness, not from emptiness. Separation reveals what is eternal and what is seasonal. Some connections are scaffolding. They are necessary while you are being built, but they are not part of the finished structure. When their purpose is complete, they fall away. You are not losing people, you are losing limits. Every departure makes room for destiny. You have felt the ache of being misunderstood. You've tried to explain your journey, but not everyone has the language to interpret your season. That is because your transformation is not meant to be public, it's sacred. What God is doing in you right now is too holy to be shared prematurely. Even those closest to you may not comprehend the depth of what's being birthed in your spirit. Chosen one. Resist the urge to reopen doors God has already sealed. Nostalgia is one of the enemy's tools. It makes you long for what God has already freed you from. Remember Lot's wife? She looked back and became a pillar of salt. Looking back freezes forward motion. Do not let yesterday's comfort cost you tomorrow's calling. Heaven speaks through the ancient words recorded in the book of Exodus. Chapter 14. Verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Stillness, this is your weapon now. You don't need to explain, argue, or chase closure. The God who removed them knows why. The same hands that pruned will also plant. He is orchestrating new alignments, ones that match your new level of faith. Chosen one. This season of separation is holy ground. Treat it as such. Use it to rediscover your voice, to rekindle your intimacy with God, to realign your priorities. You are being strengthened in solitude so that when your divine counterpart arrives, you will meet them from a place of stability, not scarcity. One day soon, you will thank God for the silence that once scared you. You will see how every goodbye was a gentle redirection toward a greater yes. The pain of parting will fade, but the peace that replaces it will stay. You are not alone, you are being aligned. Heaven is not subtracting from you, it is multiplying through subtraction. The pruning is proof of growth. The emptiness, proof of expansion. Hold steady. Beloved, the ones meant for your next chapter will find you in God's perfect timing, carrying the same fragrance of refinement that you now carry. Chosen one. There are moments when heaven draws near in such a way that the natural and the supernatural begin to intertwine. You start to see patterns too precise to ignore, numbers repeating, dreams recurring, people reappearing in divine timing. These are not coincidences, they are prophetic encounters. God communicates not only through words, but through alignment. Every believer receives signs, but only the spiritually awake can recognize them. You have felt it, that tug in your spirit when something familiar yet unexplainable happens. Maybe you keep seeing the same number sequence. Maybe you cross paths with someone repeatedly in ways too specific to be random. Maybe you sense a weight in your chest when a name is spoken. Chosen one. These are divine breadcrumbs, heaven's way of saying, pay attention. The spirit realm is not distant, it is intertwined with your everyday life. God uses symbols, patterns, and encounters to reveal what your natural eyes can't yet perceive. A conversation overheard, a verse that appears twice in one day, a stranger's words that echo your private prayers. These are heavenly signals guiding you toward revelation. You might ask, why does God speak this way? Because relationship requires attention. Heaven désire participation, not passivity. God doesn't just want to give you answers, He wants to draw you into deeper communion. Every prophetic encounter is an invitation to listen more closely, to lean into His whisper, to walk not by sight, but by sensitivity. Chosen one. The danger is in dismissing what feels strange. Many miss divine direction because they are looking for logic instead of listening for the Lord. Prophetic encounters are not always grand. They are often gentle. Elijah didn't hear God in the earthquake or the fire, but in the still, small voice. When your spirit is quiet, you'll begin to notice that heaven has been speaking all along. You are not imagining the signs. You are not being too spiritual. You are being awakened. The more you align your heart with heaven, the clearer these divine codes become. God is tuning your inner frequency to recognize His signal amidst the noise. Every repeated symbol, every recurring dream, every divine appointment is heaven confirming you are on the right path. The ancient words recorded in the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 14, declare, for God does speak, now one way, now another, though no one perceives it. This truth is timeless. God has been speaking to you in ways you didn't expect, through moments that seemed ordinary, but were actually extraordinary. The encounter wasn't random, it was revelation disguised as routine. Perhaps that dream you had was more than imagination. Maybe that repeated word, that unexpected meeting, that sudden sense of peace. When you think of a certain person, it's all part of divine orchestration. Heaven is revealing through repetition. What your heart feels drawn to again and again may carry heaven's fingerprint. Chosen one. This is why spiritual discernment is crucial. The enemy can imitate signs, but he cannot counterfeit peace. True encounters from God bring clarity, not confusion. They humble, not inflate. They draw you closer to obedience, not rebellion. The genuine presence of God always leaves residue, peace that surpasses understanding, faith that silences fear. So, do not fear these encounters. Test them. Yes, but do not dismiss them. Write them down. Pray over them. Ask, Lord, what are you showing me through this? You will find that each moment of divine repetition is another piece of the puzzle being revealed. Heaven rarely shouts. It builds through subtle confirmations. Soon, you will realize how many divine fingerprints are already on your story. The stranger who smiled at you when you were about to give up. The verse that appeared on your feed at the exact moment you needed it. The song lyric that carried the same phrase you'd prayed the night before. Every one of those moments was God whispering, I am still here. Keep trusting. Chosen one. If your spirit feels stirred right now, if your heart beats a little faster, because you know you've seen these signs too, respond in faith. Declare what your spirit already knows. Type below, I recognize this. Do not type it mindlessly. Type it as a statement of awareness. You are saying, Lord, I see what you are showing me. I will not ignore your signals. I will listen. That small act of obedience shifts you from confusion into clarity. Heaven moves when acknowledgement meets humility. Remember, the path of the chosen is marked not just by faith, but by awareness. Keep your eyes open and your heart tuned. Prophetic encounters are not interruptions, they are invitations. God is revealing, confirming, aligning. The veil between what is seen and unseen grows thinner every day. Pay attention, beloved, for the signs you once doubted are now becoming undeniable. Chosen one. When God reveals your future spouse, it will never be just about romance. It will always be about purpose. Heaven does not unite two souls merely to comfort each other. It unites them to conquer together. The love God designs is not shallow, it is strategic. It carries mission, impact, and legacy. You see, in the kingdom, marriage is not just companionship, it is commission. When God joins two people, He intertwines two callings. What He writes in your story is not a fairy tale, it's a field assignment. You are not being called into a casual love story. You are being called into a divine partnership that will shake the ground beneath darkness. Chosen one. Your future spouse is not simply someone to hold your hand. They are someone who will help you hold your purpose. Together, you will be like two instruments playing one song, different notes, same melody. The harmony you create will not just bless you, it will echo into generations. Heaven joins people whose destinies align like constellations, separate lights. But when seen together, forming one divine pattern across eternity's sky. That's why the enemy has fought your love life so fiercely. He knows your union is not ordinary, it's kingdom building. Two flames burn brighter than one. And when God joins two chosen souls, their light terrifies the darkness. Every trial, every heartbreak, Every waiting season has been part of your training, so you could recognize your divine partner not by beauty, but by burden. They will carry a fire that matches yours. Chosen one. Understand this. Your marriage will not just make you happy, it will make you holy. God is not giving you someone who will idolize your image, but someone who will sharpen your spirit. They will call out your purpose when you want to hide. They will pray when you are weary. They will remind you of heaven when the world tries to pull you down. Think of how a tree grows, alone. It may bear fruit, but when planted beside another, their roots intertwine underground, sharing strength unseen. That's what divine partnership looks like. The world may only see two people, but heaven sees two roots growing deep in the same soil of faith, feeding each other, anchoring each other through every storm. When you meet the one God has ordained, you'll recognize them not because they complete you, but because together you complete an assignment. You'll sense divine synergy and ease of spirit, a peace that feels like home. You won't have to perform to be loved. You'll be known and still chosen. The Apostle Paul reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 10, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us." Your partnership will flow from this truth. You were created with purpose before you were even born, and so was your future spouse. Heaven designed your destinies to intersect like rivers merging into one stream, different origins, but one direction. You won't just love together, you'll build together. And when that moment comes, you'll understand why you had to wait, why others didn't work out, why you had to heal first. God wasn't just answering your prayers for love, He was ensuring that when the two of you meet, you'll be ready to serve together. Every pain you've endured will become fuel for purpose. So, beloved, when this message stirs your spirit, when you feel that quiet recognition that says, "This is what I've been waiting for," don't let it pass by silently. Engage with it as an act of gratitude. Like this message, not because it's popular, but because it's personal. Share it not for numbers, but for names. Someone out there needs the same reminder you just received. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. Stay connected to this flow of divine reflection, because each word here is a ripple from heaven, meant to reach your heart again and again. You are not just preparing for a wedding day, you are preparing for a warrior's union. Two hearts, one mission, two voices, one prayer, two lives, one light that refuses to go out. Chosen one. Your love story will not be built in haste, it will be built in holiness. And when it is finally revealed, you will know it was worth every tear, every wait, every prayer whispered into the night. Heaven is not sending you a person to complete your loneliness. Heaven is sending you a partner to complete your calling. Chosen one. Before revelation becomes reality, there must always be a test. Every divine promise is proven before it is performed. The waiting season shapes your character, but the testing season reveals it. What you're facing right now, the confusion, the temptation, the emotional storms, it's not punishment. It's the proving ground for your heart. God does not test to fail you. He tests to strengthen you for what you've prayed for. Think of Abraham. Before he could walk into covenant, he had to lay Isaac on the altar. Think of Joseph. Before he could wear the crown, he had to wear chains. Every chosen one must pass through testing. For heaven must see that your love for the giver is greater than your desire for the gift. Chosen one. This test you're walking through is not about endurance alone, it's about alignment. God is watching how you handle silence, how you respond to uncertainty, how you choose faith when fear offers an easier route. The person He's preparing for you is also being tested, and the same fires that are refining you are refining them. When you finally meet, you'll recognize each other not by perfection, but by the fragrance of faith that only testing can produce. You have likely felt the pressure intensify lately. Old temptations resurface. Doors you thought were closed suddenly reopen. Distractions appear wearing the disguise of destiny. But remember, every counterfeit becomes most persuasive right before the real thing arrives. Testing always peaks before breakthrough. When you feel weary and think, "I can't do this anymore," that's the moment heaven whispers, "You're closer than you think." And chosen one, this is the divine paradox. You're being stretched because you're being trusted. The weight you carry right now is proof that heaven has found you faithful. If your journey feels harder than others, it's because your calling carries greater consequence. Diamonds don't form in comfort, they form under pressure. In this testing season, God is asking one question: can I trust you with the answer you've been praying for? Can He trust that you will honor the person He sends, that you will lead with humility, love without fear, forgive without keeping score? Every moment of uncertainty, every delay, every inner battle is part of heaven's training ground. Chosen one, don't despise the test. It is sacred. The testing season strips away false strength so that only true faith remains. It exposes every hidden motive, every unhealed wound, every lingering attachment to what cannot come with you. It is painful, yes, but it is purposeful. When you emerge from this season, your heart will be purified, your discernment sharpened, and your soul ready to carry the covenant you've been promised. Consider the potter's kiln again. Once the clay vessel is shaped, it must face fire before it can hold glory. The heat is not there to destroy, it's there to seal. Without fire, the form is fragile. With fire, it becomes unbreakable. You are in that kiln now, and heaven is sealing your strength. You may be tempted to ask, why must it hurt? Because purpose always costs something. The anointing you carry for this next chapter requires surrender, patience, and endurance. What God is building in you must last generations, not moments. That's why it must be tested through time and tension. The ancient words recorded in the first letter of Peter, chapter 1, verse 7 remind us, "These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold, though your faith is far more precious than mere gold." Chosen one, your trials are not breaking your faith, they are proving it genuine. Heaven is watching, not to condemn, but to crown. Every time you choose obedience when it's inconvenient, every time you trust when it would be easier to quit, you're passing the test unseen by men, but celebrated in heaven. And just as gold cannot be destroyed by fire, neither can your calling. The flames may rage, but they are only burning away what is not meant to remain. When the smoke clears, you will see that the test was never about loss, it was about revelation. God was showing you what could endure, Hold fast in this season. Do not let weariness convince you that you've missed your moment. What feels like delay is actually calibration. What looks like loss is often preparation. The one who is meant for you is being shaped under the same divine fire. When the test concludes, both of you will emerge, ready, refined, aligned, and anointed for the same purpose. Chosen one. This is not the end of your waiting, it's the threshold of your becoming. Do not fear the fire, walk through it. For on the other side of testing lies the unveiling of everything you have prayed for. Chosen one. Every season of testing leads to one sacred moment alignment, when heaven's timing, peace, and purpose finally collide. It feels like the world exhales, the confusion lifts, the striving stops, and your spirit recognizes that what was once unseen is now unfolding before your eyes. Divine alignment is not forced, it flows. This is the season where things begin to make sense. The prayers you once prayed in tears are now answered in timing. The delays you questioned now reveal their purpose. You look back and see that every closed door, every lonely night, every unanswered question was orchestrated to bring you into this exact position. Heaven wastes nothing, it weaves everything. Chosen one. Alignment is not something you achieve, it's something you surrender to. You cannot manipulate it, chase it, or create it. It's birthed when your will bows to His. Many times, the reason alignment seems far away is because we are still clinging to our own timeline. But once you say, Lord, not my plan, but yours, you release heaven's coordinates to guide you. The divine alignment between you and your future spouse will not require striving. It won't be a battle of proving worth or competing for attention. It will feel like peace. The same peace that has followed you through storms will suddenly rest between you both. It will not come with confusion, because confusion is not the language of heaven. It will come with confirmation, with clarity, with calm. You'll notice subtle harmony, the way your prayers begin to mirror theirs, the way your paths cross naturally, the way your spiritual rhythms sync like two rivers, merging into one stream. This is not coincidence, it is choreography. God is a master conductor, weaving melodies of destiny that finally resolve into a symphony of purpose. Chosen one. This alignment will not only connect two hearts, it will unite two callings. The person heaven is aligning you with will not pull you from God's presence. They will push you deeper into it. Together, you will stand as pillars, two lives built on one foundation. This connection will not drain you, it will deliver you into destiny. It is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and He delights in His way. Your steps have not been random. Beloved, the missteps, the pauses, the detours, all were divinely ordered. Even the heartbreaks were recalculations, not rejections. Every wrong turn was still on heaven's map. God delights in your journey, not because it's perfect, but because it's obedient. Chosen one. Alignment is the moment when obedience meets opportunity. You've been faithful in the unseen, and now heaven begins to respond openly. There is no need to panic or perform. The right doors will open because they were built for you. The person meant for you will not need convincing. They will recognize you by the Spirit, just as you will recognize them. Be attentive in this season. Divine alignment, often arrives quietly, not dramatically. It will feel like ease after exhaustion, clarity after confusion, rest after resistance. When it happens, you'll realize you didn't have to chase anything, you only had to remain positioned. This is your call to stillness and trust. What's unfolding before you has been written since before time began. You are not falling into place by accident. You are stepping into prophecy. The same hand that drew you out of wilderness now draws you into promise. Chosen one. If your heart feels that subtle peace rising right now, if your spirit whispers, "Yes, I can feel this alignment happening," then seal it with faith. Declare it before heaven. Type below 9,999 as a prophetic act, a number of completion and divine order. Let it symbolize the closing of old cycles and the birth of alignment. When you type it, you are saying, "Lord, I receive your order. I surrender my steps to your rhythm." Do not underestimate the power of agreement. When faith meets declaration, heaven moves. This is more than a number. It's an acknowledgement that you are ready for divine synchronization. You are ready to walk in step with heaven's heartbeat. No longer rushing ahead or falling behind, but moving in perfect time. Chosen one. Divine alignment feels like homecoming. You are not being aligned with just a person, you are being aligned with purpose, peace, and promise. And soon, when you stand face to face with the one God has chosen, your spirit will whisper, "Now I understand." For everything, including this waiting, has led you here. Chosen one. When the time of revealing draws near, your spirit begins to discern what your eyes cannot yet fully see. There is a quiet recognition, a knowing that doesn't come from reasoning, but from revelation. This is the mystery of divine discernment, the ability to recognize someone not by appearance or circumstance, but by the frequency of their spirit. Your future spouse carries a sound, a spiritual signature that resonates with your soul. It is the same light you carry, refracted through another vessel. When you meet them, you won't need to analyze endlessly. Your spirit will recognize the echo. It will not be loud or dramatic, but steady and unmistakable, like hearing your own heartbeat mirrored in another. Chosen one. This discernment cannot be learned from the world. It is a gift forged through intimacy with God. The more you've walked with Him in private, the sharper your spiritual hearing has become. You've learned how to sense peace, how to feel warning, how to distinguish divine stillness from counterfeit calm. All those lessons, the ones learned through tears, through confusion, through letting go, were shaping this gift of recognition. When God reveals your future spouse, your discernment will activate like a compass, locking onto true north. It won't depend on appearances, achievements, or timing. Instead, it will draw you toward the essence of their spirit, the part of them that worships when no one watches, that prays when the world is silent. You will know them because their heart will sound like home. Chosen one. Discernment also protects. It warns you when something looks right but feels wrong. The Holy Spirit will tug gently at your spirit, saying, "Not this one." It may not make sense at first, but peace is never absent where God is present. When you feel confusion, pause. When you feel pressure, pray. Heaven never demands urgency. It invites understanding. There is power in stillness. The more you quiet the noise around you, the more you'll hear the truth within you. God's voice rarely competes. It waits for your attention. The one meant for you will carry that same quiet strength. You'll see it in how they treat others, how they speak truth with grace, how their presence settles you instead of stirring anxiety. They will feel familiar, not because of shared pasts, but because of shared purpose. Chosen one. Remember, discernment is not suspicion. It is not about finding flaws. It is about recognizing essence. It helps you see through masks, not to judge, but to protect your peace. When you operate in discernment, you no longer choose through emotion, you choose through revelation. You stop chasing validation and start following vibration, the resonance of heaven within another soul. There will be moments when your discernment feels almost too sharp, when your spirit picks up subtle shifts that others don't notice. That sensitivity is not a burden, it is your safeguard. God entrusted it to you, so that when your promise appears, you will not mistake imitation for intention. The Apostle John reminds us in the first letter of John, chapter 4, verse 1. Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. This truth applies not only to teachings, but also to relationships. Test the spirit behind every smile, every offer, every opportunity. Ask yourself, does this draw me closer to God or pull me subtly away? The right person will align with your purpose, not distract you from it. They will magnify your peace, not compete with it. Chosen one. When discernment meets destiny, the soul rests. You will not need to explain or overthink. The spirit within you will bear witness to the spirit within them, and that silent agreement will be louder than 1,000 words. Until that moment, guard your peace like treasure. The world around you will always clamor for your attention, but your destiny requires focus. Keep your heart uncluttered, your mind anchored, and your spirit open. God will reveal through peace what your eyes might overlook in excitement. When recognition happens, you will not doubt it. It will feel as though every moment of waiting, every lesson learned, every prayer whispered in solitude, was preparing you for this instant of knowing. You'll realize that discernment wasn't just to help you find them, it was to help you keep them, protected under the covering of divine awareness. Chosen one. Trust your spirit. It has walked with God through fire and silence. It will not mislead you now. When the moment arrives, when the frequencies of two chosen hearts finally harmonize, you'll hear it, the sound of heaven's confirmation echoing through peace. Chosen one. Divine love is never ordinary. It carries covenant weight. What heaven is preparing for you is not a fleeting connection, but a sacred vow, one that mirrors the eternal relationship between God and His people. This is what you are being shaped for, the covenant call. A covenant is not the same as a promise. A promise can be broken by emotion. A covenant is sealed by spirit. When God joins two chosen souls, He does not unite them through preference, but through purpose. The bond that will form between you and your future spouse is more than companionship. It is consecration. It will be a spiritual partnership designed to withstand the storms of life, because it is anchored in divine assignment. Chosen one. The covenant call is holy ground. It is the moment when love shifts from emotion to devotion. It is when two hearts, once separate, Agree to walk as one, not merely for their happiness, but for heaven's glory. This is why the preparation has felt weighty. You are being refined not for fleeting romance, but for enduring responsibility. When you step into covenant, you step into representation. The way you love will reflect how God loves. The way you forgive, cover, and protect will mirror the nature of His mercy. That's why this stage cannot be rushed, it must be revealed. You must first learn the language of divine love before you can speak it fluently to another soul. Chosen one. Understand that covenant is not sustained by emotion, it is sustained by obedience. Feelings may fade, circumstances may change, but obedience keeps the flame alive. There will be days when love feels effortless, and days when love must be chosen, yet, through both. Heaven watches not how perfect you are, but how faithful you remain. Your future spouse will be the one who stands with you in covenant truth. They will not love you because of convenience, but because of conviction. Their commitment will not depend on conditions, but on calling. Together, you will embody the mystery of oneness, two spirits moving in harmony, two hearts echoing one prayer, two lives united under one purpose. The sacred text in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 12 declares, "Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken." This verse reveals the essence of divine union, the third strand. It is not merely man and woman, it is man, woman, and God. The third strand is what makes the bond unbreakable. Without Him, love becomes fragile. With Him, it becomes eternal. Heaven is the glue, the breath, the unseen thread that holds all things together. Chosen one. Your covenant will be marked by this divine third strand. You will pray together, war together, dream together, and heal together. When one grows weary, the other will remind them of the promise. When fear tries to whisper, faith will speak louder through both your mouths. And when the storms of life arrive, as they always do, your covenant will not crumble. It will not be shaken by misunderstanding or distance. It will bend but not break. Because what God joins, no man can separate. This love is not a contract that can be rewritten. It is a covenant that cannot be undone. Chosen one. That is why you had to learn endurance before encounter. You had to master faithfulness when no one was watching. The consistency you've shown in prayer, in patience, in purity, those are the very traits that will sustain your covenant when emotion alone cannot. God was never delaying your promise. He was deepening your capacity to keep it. In this sacred union, you will find not perfection, but partnership. You will see that love is not the absence of conflict, but the triumph of grace over it. Your covenant will become a mirror, reflecting heaven's patience, how God never gives up, how He restores, how He chooses again and again. When the day of covenant comes, you will feel it not as a spark, but as a peace so profound it silences every past doubt. You will look into their eyes and see eternity. Looking back, you will realize that this was never just about finding someone to share your days with. It was about finding someone to share your destiny with. Chosen one. Take this truth to heart. You are being prepared for something holy. What awaits you is not fragile, it is fortified. The covenant call is near. And when it arrives, heaven will smile, for two lights will merge into one flame, burning brightly against the darkness of this world. Chosen one. Whenever heaven brings two souls together in covenant, darkness notices. The moment two flames unite under divine purpose, the enemy begins to tremble, because a single light can chase away shadows, but two lights, joined by God, can ignite a wildfire of hope that burns through generations. This is why spiritual warfare often intensifies right before divine union. The battle you're feeling now is not about you losing, it's about you winning. When love is holy, it becomes dangerous to darkness. The enemy fears unity because unity multiplies power. He will try to sow misunderstanding, insecurity, or distraction. He will whisper that you're unworthy, that you'll fail, that maybe God forgot his promise. But those are lies built on fear, not on faith. The warfare surrounding your love life isn't a sign that you're cursed, it's evidence that you're chosen. Chosen one. Think of the blacksmith. When he forges a sword, he places the metal in fire, hammers it, and repeats the process until the blade gleams. The fire doesn't destroy the metal, it strengthens it. The hammering doesn't ruin the shape, it defines it. In the same way, every attack against your heart is forging you into someone unbreakable. You are being tempered for triumph. The Apostle Paul writes in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world." This truth brings perspective. Your battle is not with people, delays, or misunderstandings. It's with unseen forces trying to derail divine purpose. Once you recognize that, you stop fighting in frustration and start fighting in faith. You begin to understand that your tears are not wasted. They are warfare. Your worship is not weakness. It is a weapon. Chosen one. The love you're being prepared for is worth fighting for. It's not fragile affection, it's fortified faith. Every test you've endured, every heartbreak you've survived, every night you've chosen prayer over bitterness has been sharpening you for this very moment. You are not simply waiting for love, you are warring for destiny. And sometimes, the fiercest battle happens inside you. The battle to keep trusting when nothing changes. The battle to forgive those who hurt you. The battle to believe that love can still be pure. That connection can still be holy. But each time you choose to stand back up, you send tremors through the kingdom of darkness. Every time you refuse to give up, light wins again. Beloved, think of a seed buried underground. Before it ever reaches the sunlight, it must push through pressure, darkness, and soil. The seed doesn't see the light while it grows. It simply trusts that light exists. You, too, are that seed. Everything pressing down on you is not meant to bury you, but to birth you. When the time is right, you will break through the soil, blooming into the fullness of everything God promised. And when that day comes, when love arrives, when your covenant is revealed, you'll see that all the warfare was preparation for strength. You will carry a kind of peace that the world can't imitate because it was forged through battle. You will love not from fear of losing, but from faith in purpose. Chosen one. If these words stir your heart, if they remind you of your own journey through storms and silence, then let's shine this light together. Like this message, as a way of saying, I'm still standing. Share it as a lantern for another soul walking through their midnight battle. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, not for content, but for connection. Every word here is a reminder that heaven still writes stories of redemption. And yours is one of them. And when you've done that, pause for one more act of faith. Leave a comment below your testimony, your prayer, or simply a few words of endurance. You never know who might need to read your light to keep their flame alive. This space is more than a page. It's a gathering place for chosen ones, each of us carrying fire in fragile hands, learning to burn together without burning out. So stand firm, beloved. The battle may roar, but victory is written. The darkness will not last. You have survived too much to turn back now. Heaven is reinforcing you, reminding you that even in warfare, love wins. For the story God writes never ends in defeat. It always ends in glory. Chosen one. Perhaps the hardest lesson in your divine journey is learning to trust heaven's timing, the waiting, the pauses, the delays. They stretch the soul in ways nothing else can. It is here, between promise and fulfillment, that faith is tested most deeply, for the heart longs to run ahead, but the spirit whispers, wait. No, waiting is not a punishment. It is a purification of trust. When God withholds something, He is not denying you. He is developing you. The time between revelation and realization is sacred. It refines motives, strengthens patience, and teaches surrender. Heaven's timing is never late, but it rarely feels early. It arrives in that holy tension where desperation gives way to devotion. Chosen one. Impatience often disguises itself as desire. It tells you that waiting longer means missing out, that God has forgotten, that maybe you should take matters into your own hands. But that is the same lie whispered in Eden, the temptation to grasp what should only be given. The enemy knows he cannot destroy what God has destined, so he tries to delay it by urging you to move before heaven says, go. God's timing is like the rhythm of the tide, steady, certain, unhurried. To the human eye, it seems unpredictable. To the divine heart, it is perfectly orchestrated. The seasons of your life are not random, they are rhythmic. There are days for sowing, days for silence, and days for sudden bloom. The one who understands timing never panics when nothing seems to move. They know that silence often precedes the sound of fulfillment. Consider the story of Sarah and Abraham. The promise of a child came long before the child himself. Years passed. Faith wavered, and doubt whispered that perhaps the promise had expired. Yet, in the exact moment God ordained, laughter was born through Isaac. The delay was not wasted, it was womb time. Every passing year built a deeper dependence on God's faithfulness. The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, reminds us, for the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come. Chosen one. Your revelation also awaits its appointed time. The vision of your divine partner, the dream of holy union, the longing for companionship, it has not been forgotten. Heaven is not rewriting your story, it is refining it. Every not yet you've heard has been wrapped in mercy. God delays what is divine until it can last a lifetime, not just a season. The waiting is not empty space, it is preparation, ground. In the unseen, God is orchestrating details, aligning paths, healing wounds you didn't even know existed. The person He has for you is being shaped by the same divine hand that shapes you. Like two stars destined to align, your orbits are being refined so that when you finally meet, the connection will not collide, it will complement. Chosen one. In moments of frustration, remember this: God is not testing your patience, He is protecting your promise. A premature blessing can become a burden. Heaven does not give gifts that destroy. The timing is divine because the purpose is delicate. Only when both hearts are ready, healed, and anchored in obedience will revelation manifest into reality. There will come a day when all the pieces fall into place so naturally that you'll wonder why you ever doubted. You'll see how God was never silent. He was strategic. You'll understand why certain prayers were answered with delay and why certain doors had to remain closed until your hands were strong enough to hold the handle. Chosen one. Release your timeline back into His hands. Rest from the weight of calculation. Stop asking when and start asking what. Lord, what are you teaching me in this waiting? What are you strengthening within me? For it is often in the waiting that warriors are formed and faith matures. Every sunrise is proof that waiting bears fruit. The world doesn't demand the sun to rise faster, it simply trusts it will. So too must you trust that your season of revealing will dawn exactly when heaven has written it. When it comes, it will not need to be forced or feared. It will simply be chosen one. Heaven's clock is never wrong. Every second of silence, every pause in progress, every slow unfolding is perfectly aligned with your destiny. The story is still on schedule. The author is still writing, and when the appointed moment arrives, you will find that what seemed delayed was right on time, carrying beauty that only waiting could birth. Chosen one. There comes a moment when all the threads heaven has been weaving finally form a clear pattern. The confusion fades, the waiting ends, and what once felt distant now stands before you, real and radiant. This is the revealing and the reward, the divine unveiling of what your spirit has long known, but your eyes are only now allowed to see. You will not need anyone to explain it to you. Your soul will recognize it instantly. The peace you feel will be deeper than emotion. It will be the voice of God saying, "This is what I promised." Everything that was hidden will make sense. Every delay, every heartbreak, every lonely night of wondering if God still remembered, you will dissolve in a single moment of divine clarity. The one God has chosen for you will not come to complete you, but to confirm you. They will be a mirror of grace, reflecting back the lessons, faith, and strength you cultivated in the wilderness. Their presence will feel like purpose wearing human form. You will not lose yourself in them. You will find more of who you were created to be. Chosen one. This revelation will not arrive with noise or chaos. It will come with stillness. The world's love stories begin in spark and spectacle, but heaven's stories begin in peace. When you meet the one God ordained, there will be no striving to impress, no anxiety about what comes next. It will feel like the closing of a circle, the final piece sliding perfectly into place. You'll notice that everything about your connection aligns with what God has already prepared in your heart. Your visions will complement, your values will align, your callings will interlock like gears in a divine clock. And even when challenges arise, and they will, you will face them together, strengthened by the same faith that brought you together. Chosen one. This moment of revealing is not just a romantic fulfillment, it is a spiritual awakening. You will understand love in its truest form, not possession, but partnership, not dependency. But destiny. You will see that God never intended for you to find someone who fills your emptiness, but someone who joins you in fullness. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 13. Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. That deliverance is not only from enemies, but from doubt, fear, and waiting. The revealing is deliverance from uncertainty. It's the moment where God's invisible hand becomes visible in your story. You will see how His plan was never to deprive you, but to prepare you. Chosen one. As this new chapter begins, remember that divine revelation carries responsibility. The one God brings into your life is not a trophy for enduring the wait, they are a trust. You are both stewards of something sacred, something meant to shine as a testimony to others still waiting. Your union is not just for you, it is for the kingdom. It will show the world that real love still exists, that holiness and affection can dwell together, that faith can still birth fulfillment. You may feel unworthy of such goodness, but that humility is proof that your heart is ready. Heaven does not give crowns to those seeking glory, but to those who have bowed through pain. You have bowed long enough. Beloved, now you will stand crowned, not because you earned it, but because grace declared it. The revealing will not erase the scars, but it will redeem them. The pain you carried will become prophecy fulfilled. You will speak of your journey, and others will find hope in your story. You will no longer speak from longing, but from living testimony. Chosen one. This is the full circle moment. The waiting, the refinement, the isolation, the testing, all of it has led here. You will not just see your future spouse, you will see God in their eyes, in their patience, in their prayers. Together, you will walk as two flames of one fire, two reflections of one light. The reward of waiting is not simply finding the one, it is finding the deeper revelation of God's faithfulness. You will realize that every tear you cried was watering this moment. Every not yet was heaven's way of saying, I am preparing something better. Soon, beloved, your story will unfold before you like dawn breaking after a long night. The light will come softly, then suddenly, and you will whisper in awe, it was worth it. For the God who promised has proven himself again. The revelation is real. The wait is over. And love holy, lasting, and luminous has finally arrived. Chosen one. Take a breath. You've walked through every chapter waiting, refining, testing, aligning, and now you stand at the threshold of fulfillment. Heaven has not just spoken over you, it has written through you. Every word you've absorbed was not coincidence, it was confirmation. The revelation of your divine love story is unfolding even now. But this is not the end. This is only the beginning of a new rhythm, a partnership between your heart and heaven's will. What God has revealed, He will bring to pass. The same Spirit that sustained you through delay will guide you into destiny. You are no longer waiting in vain. You are walking in purpose. Before you leave this sacred space, pause and give thanks. Think of how far you've come, how much you've grown, and how deeply you've learned to trust. Every seed planted in tears is about to bloom in joy. And as you rise into this next season, remember your story carries light that can ignite others. So, if this journey spoke to your soul, let's keep the light moving. Like this message, not for numbers, but as a declaration that you receive what heaven has released. Share it so another weary heart might find direction in their own wilderness. And in the comments, speak life, share your prayer, your reflection, or simply type, "I believe." Let your faith echo beyond your own story. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. Stay connected to this divine flow. These words are not just messages, they are reminders from heaven that you are seen, chosen, and never forgotten. The revelation has been spoken. The waiting has ended. Now, step forward, beloved, because what God has revealed, He will soon make real.